Appreciate your help.
Talk to you later.
Once upon a time, a man who had worked like a slave for most of his life decided to retire. After consulting with his financial advisor, he booked himself on a Caribbean cruise, where he proceeded to have the time of his life. He did, that is, until the cruise ship sank. After splashing around on the open water for what seemed like an eternity, he washed ashore on a small island with no people, no supplies, no nothing, only bananas and coconuts. After 4 squalid months, he was combing the beach one day for any tidbit that might help him survive, when the most gorgeous woman he had ever seen rode up to the shore with her long hair blowing in the sea breeze. He blinked his eyes in disbelief. He thought for a moment he was hallucinating. As she approached, he asked incredulously, "Where did you come from? How did you get here?" She said, "I rowed over from the other side of the island, where I landed when my cruise ship sank." "We must have been on the same ship," the man said. "The Rogue Wave?" Yes, he replied. "You were very lucky to have a rowboat wash up with you." "Oh, this thing?" she said. "I made it out of raw material I found on the island. The oars were carved from gum tree branches. I wove the hull from some palm fronds, and the bow and stern came from a eucalyptus tree." "But," the man stammered, "where did you get the tools?" "Oh," the woman said, "there's a very unusual stratum of alluvial rock on the south side of the island. I found if I fired it in my kiln, I could melt it into ductile iron. I use that to make the tools, and I use the tools to make the boat." The man was awestruck at her resourcefulness. "Let's row over to my place," she said. After a short trip around the island, she secured the oars and docked at a small wharf. As the man looked toward shore, his jaws dropped. Before him was a long stone walkway leading to an elegant 2-story treehouse. While the woman tied up the rowboat with an expertly woven hemp rope, the man could only stare ahead, dumbstruck. As they entered the house, she said casually, "It's not much, but I call it home. Have a seat." The man was stunned. "Would you like a drink?" "No," he blurted out abruptly. It was the woman's turn to be stunned. "I'm sorry," he said. "I mean, no thank you. I couldn't stomach another drop of coconut juice." "Oh, it's not coconut juice," she winked at him. "I have a still. Would you like a tropical spritz?" Trying to hide his amazement, the man accepted, and they sat down on the couch with their cocktails to talk. After they exchanged survival stories, the woman quietly announced, "I'm going to slip into something more comfortable. Would you like to take a shower and shave? There's a razor in the bathroom cabinet." No longer amazed at anything, the man went upstairs into the bathroom. There in the cabinet was a razor whittled from a piece of teak. 2 tortoise shells honed to a sharp edge were lashed to a handmade swivel mechanism. This woman is unbelievable, he thought to himself. What next? When he returned to the living room, she greeted him wearing nothing but some small, delicate flowers on tiny vines, each strategically positioned on her body. She smelled faintly of gardenias and lavender. She patted the couch beside her and asked the man to sit down next to her. "So tell me," she said suggestively, sliding over next to him. "We've both been out here for months. Like me, you must be terribly lonely. There's something I'm sure you feel like doing right now, something you've been thinking about for a long time. Am I right?" She smiled at him seductively. He couldn't believe his ears. You mean," he swallowed excitedly as tears welled up in his eyes, "you built a golf course?"